Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video, and welcome to my recap of Super Bowl 53 with the New England Patriots picking up the 13-3 victory and their 6th Super Bowl since the year 2000 against the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm gonna get into the numbers and kind of, break down the stuff that happens. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of points scored, but what was shown on the defensive end of the football for both teams was really good, especially on the Patriots side. This is their best defensive. Last night was their best defensive game of the entire season. No exaggeration, no hyperbole. The best defensive game of the entire, including the regular season, including the two games in the AFC game, the AFC playoffs. This is their best defensive game. Let's get into the numbers. Starting with New England, Tom Brady, 21-35, 262 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. As a matter of fact, his first throw was a pick. Tom Brady wasn't great at all. He did have the one nice drive, which led to a Sony Michel touchdown, which pretty much iced the game. Because I figured at that point, whoever scored a touchdown was probably going to win the game. And the Patriots, we know Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, he makes plays, and he did. He got him down the field, got him on the 1 yard line. They ran it in. So, that doesn't show up unless you watch the game that, yeah, he did make that play when they needed it most. Because at that time, it was still a 3-3 game, and heading into the fourth. But for the most part, some throws he missed. Like I said, he had the interception. He didn't have a particularly good game. I think Julian Edelman helped him out a lot. Julian Edelman was a beast in this game. He won Super Bowl MVP, by the way. Going on to the rushing, Sony Michel, 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Rex Burkhead, 7 carries, 43 yards. The running game started to pick up near the end when they needed to burn out clock. They got some key first downs from the running game. So, things started to show up when they really needed it to. Looking at the receiving, Julian Edelman, 10 receptions, 141 yards. No one had a touchdown in a receiving game, obviously. Rob Gronkowski, 6 receptions, 87 yards. Rex Burkhead, 2 receptions, 15. Cordell Patterson, 2 for 14. And James White, 1 for 5. I thought he would have made a bigger impact in the game, but I thought the Rams did a good job of defending the running backs. It was just Julian Edelman that they couldn't really defend throughout the game. Defensively, now, this is where they were incredible. Hightower, all those guys on the defensive line, this is a team, Patriots team, that struggled throughout the regular season to get pressure. And in this game, they clearly looked at Chicago Bears tape. When the Bears played the Rams, they did the same thing, especially in that up front with the stunts, and it worked most of the game. Jared Goff never really could set his feet, and it got to a point where he started seeing ghosts. I mean, you look at the play where he threw the pick. It was a poorly thrown ball. His feet weren't set, and it was underthrown. So hats off to, of course, Bill Belichick for just getting those guys ready. And he looked at that Bears tape and saw, oh, this worked. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do what they did. Secondary's been good all year. Stephon Gilmore, Jason McCourty. They ended up losing Patrick Chung in this game, but the defense still didn't miss a beat even when he was gone. That's one thing people haven't talked about that don't watch a bunch of games is that Patriots secondary was one of the best in football. They had the highest, based on PFF, they had the highest graded corner in football in Stephon Gilmore. Jason McCourty was up there as well. I believe he was in the top 5 in terms of graded corners. Davin McCourty was good at safety. I think overall the game plan coming in was great. Sean McVay got completely outcoached. It's like Bill Belichick knew everything he was gonna run. Even when they kind of tried to break tendencies, where it'll be on first down. Tendency is most teams run on first down, especially if you got a good running game, you got a good run blocking offensive line. Patriots were prepared for all of it. They were prepared for stuff like that where they would actually pass on first down. But definitely, you got to give a lot of credit to that Patriots defense. To hold one of the top scoring offenses throughout the regular season to only 3 points, you really did something. Looking at the Rams side, Jared Goff, 19 of 38, 229 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, big interception. He was sacked 4 times and got hit a lot. He got hit a lot. And I know a lot of people, including me, said Jared Goff sucks. He's not as good as people coming in saying, like, oh, he was, there were people saying he was top 5, was top 10. He's still a young guy, and his deficiencies as a quarterback were at the forefront in this game. He's a guy who plays from the run. Running game was eliminated, by their own doing. And the coach didn't help him out with easier throws. Where were the screen passes to Todd Gurley? Where were some of the shorter intermediate routes to the running backs, to a slot receiver? None of that was there. The tight ends. Where was the short stuff to some of the other guys? And, it's a big reason why the offense struggled. They were hitting your quarterback a lot. You got to be able to you got to give him some plays to get rid of the ball quick. And Sean McVay should take a lot of blame for the offensive play calling. Looking at the Rams rushing game or lack thereof, Todd Gurley, 10 carries, 36 yards. Don't know what was going on with him. If you saw against the Saints, he also sat out in that game. Conflicting things have been said. Oh, one is his knee. The next is nothing. He said he's fine. Coach says he's fine. But then you hear a sideline reporter talk about his knee. So what's really wrong with him? It has to be something wrong with him. This is a Super Bowl. You got to go out there and play. You got to go out there and utilize your running back. And Sean McVay, like I said, he tried to he overthought a lot of play calls. It was a 3rd and 2. He just got you about 7 yards on the rush. The Patriots essentially are playing the pass, and if you had a quarterback that could recognize that, you run the ball. See, and that's one thing Jared Goff, he doesn't do a good job of reading what defense is out there being played. If you see those safeties back up, and on a 3rd and 2, you switch to the run. You got a great running back. But C.J. Anderson, 7 carries, 22. Robert Woods, 1 carry for 5. Pathetic. He only ran the ball 18 times. Todd Gurley ran the ball 10 times. Why? The game was close throughout. Why? And one thing they didn't do, they didn't run the ball outside the numbers. Teams have had success in terms of running the ball against the Patriots. It was never between the tackles. It was always runs on the outside. We had to make the linebackers chase you, because the Patriots don't have the most athletic linebackers. But you saw none of that from the Rams. And with a coach like Sean McVay, who's supposed to be this offensive genius, where was the game plan in there for this? Did you game plan for this game? And the whole offense looked like a deer in headlights. Now, the defense was great, but the offense looked like a deer in headlights with the way this game was called, the way the players played on the field, and the fact that your best offensive player is sitting on the sidelines in a close game and they won't tell people nothing. If I'm a Rams fan, I would be pissed. I'm just saying. Looking at the receiving, Brandon Cooks, 8 receptions, 120 yards. He had some big drops in the end zone. One was Jared Goff, I would say, where he saw him late and it allowed the defender to recover in the back of the end zone. The other was just a flat-out drop. It was a perfectly thrown ball. Those are the catches you have to make as the team's number one receiver. Because he is the number one receiver. He gets paid the most. You have to make those kinds of plays. Most number one receivers most teams are gonna make that catch more times than not. Robert Woods 5 receptions, 70 yards, and no one had over 3 receptions after that, or over 30 yards. But Robert Woods, I think he was underutilized. Where were the slant routes? Where was the shorter stuff? And it kind of goes back to the play calling. Where were the shorter intermediate routes to get rid of the ball out of Goff's hands, get you in short and manageable, and that way you can keep your running game, but you can also keep your quarterback from taking a beating. He took a beating in this game. Defensively, I thought they were pretty good. Outside of really defending Julian Edelman, it didn't matter who was on him. He was beating those guys. Aqib Talib, it didn't matter. Whoever they put on him, he was shredding. So outside of that, I would say they did a pretty good job, tight coverage. And one thing I do like about this game, the refs mostly let them play. There was a lot of holding in the secondary. There was definitely some missed pass interference calls, definitely that would have got called in the regular season, but they didn't call it in this game. And I like that. They let them play. There was no clear bias for one team or the other. There were some calls that people didn't like, but for the most part, the game, they let them play. The one call I would say I didn't like was the holding penalty on the Rams, which pretty much killed their drive. That was the only penalty I didn't like, but I could see why they would call that. But for the most part, both defenses played great. Patriots defense, I think, was better. They at least had an offense that could. They at least had an offense that could keep time possession and keep them fresh. Rams, on the other hand, didn't, and the guys still played good despite that. Patriots had some mistakes, though. I'll definitely say the Patriots had some mistakes. The missed field goal. They failed to convert on 4th down. I believe it's in the 3rd quarter. And, of course, the interception from Tom Brady's first throw. Those were big mistakes that really left points off the board. And that was a big reason why it was a 3-3 game heading into the 4th quarter. A lot of people say, "Oh, this game's boring" or whatever. No, because these are people who complained about defenses all year, and when you see a game where they actually play defense, now it's boring. No, these are the type of games where every yard is a hard earned. Every point, every time you score, you're gonna work for that. You're not gonna just drive the ball down the field. Every catch, most of the time, is contested. I like that, and I think they need to call games in the regular season that way. Just saying. They need to call games in the regular season that way. But that does it for this video. Of course, we in the off-season NFL. A lot of draft stuff. Free agency, of course. But if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.